Hi Gemini, here is a general look at your solar chart for December 2014, and each year at this time the Sun comes into your opposite sign Sagittarius. That's from the last week of November to the last week of December, and that means it's lighting up an area of your solar chart to do with partnerships, one-to-one relationships, working relationships, family relationships, just close relationships, whether they're temporary or long-term. And not only the Sun will be lighting up this area this month, but also we have Mercury and Venus in there. And then from the 24th, for quite a long transit, we have Saturn entering into that area there, but more on that in a minute. So first of all, well, the Sun is in your opposite sign, so that means in general cooperative relationships and maybe not so cooperative relationships will be highlighted, but in sort of one is always trying to get the best out of relationships, right? So key to this period will be getting getting the best, maybe having to compromise a bit, but just trying to get your balance in close associations of one kind or another, and you and another could be doing business together at this time. But however it is for you, there's definitely a stronger feeling of mutual interaction, and there could be attraction as well, because Venus is going to be in there until the 11th at least. So Venus is very strong in her favorite place, because this is Venus's home house, if you see what I mean, and affairs of the heart are favored, but also those that you interact with in close relationship at the moment are likely to be more cooperative. They're likely to be more supportive or enabling in some way or another, whether that is in a a touchy-feely kind of a way, or whether that is a more sort of business-like formal kind of a way. The facilitation is likely to be there more with Venus in this area. But even when Venus moves from the 11th, in fact I would say for a whole month, Venus is actually in an area which is going to allow you to feel more supported, and turn that around is going to allow another to feel more supported by you, or in fact, even if they aren't conscious of being supported by you, you might be conscious of being the support for them, and then that makes you feel rewarded or satisfied in some way. Venus always tends to bring in the balance, you see. Mercury's also in the same area as the Sun and Venus, but Mercury is there until the 17th, so a bit longer than Venus and a bit shorter than the Sun. So very much your mental focus, which is what Mercury is all about, will be to do with communications about a close relationship, or an association of some kind, or within that, the mental rapport going on there with someone. And you get others' feedback, you get others' slant on things, which would be a very good idea at the moment, actually, for I would say the whole month of December. Given where Venus is going to be, even though the Sun does move on the 22nd. And you may be in relationship with someone whose guidance or information you really value, whose contribution you value, and it just gives you that piece of the puzzle, or those pieces of the puzzles, or puzzle. But also somebody's likely to see you like that as well, giving them the pieces of the puzzle. And being the guide or in fact the advisor for them in some way. And then all of them start to leave the area. Venus goes first on the 11th, followed closely by Mercury on the 17th, and then the Sun on the 22nd, and they all go into the next house. So they're all sort of grouped in together in the next house. And this is a house of deeper feeling, and you feel more involved emotionally there, and it can mean that something can touch you more easily, or indeed sway your feelings, or even push a button and touch a nerve. But I would say actually Venus is more about, she tends to take take the sharp edges off things. So I would say, you know, touching your feelings is more likely with Venus here. But of course, in this area here, we also have Pluto. And so you need to keep a sort of an awareness around about the 19th to the 21st, but also the 24th to the 26th, and sandwiched right in the middle there to bridge that gap, we have the 22nd to the 23rd. So take that from the 19th to the 26th. First of all, between the 19th and the 21st, Venus actually does go over Pluto, which really does cause more intense feeling for whatever the reason. There's more riding on something. So whether this is to do with a close relationship, or whether it's to do with, in which case it's emotional, or whether it's to do with something to do with money, something to do with property, something to do with possession, something to do with something which is you don't have the right, the complete right over. There's a joint connection between the thing, the condition, the person, the contract, that, you know, it's like a two-way street. There's a mutual thing going on there, hopefully mutual. But when Venus goes over Pluto, that's just between the 19th and the 21st, something is likely to trigger something else, which then causes a breakthrough, which then causes a transition. So it doesn't have to be a bad thing. You've had Pluto in that area for a few years now. I can't remember how many, but quite a few. And Pluto is just sort of ticking away in the background, slowly, you know, the cogs in the gears changing, if they have cogs anymore, I don't know. And you coming into a new self-understanding, and maybe even a new interface in a relationship, or within a new relationship. The dynamic has been changing, or it might be to do with income. It might be to do with property. It might be to do with something which is very close to your heart, that you're a bit obsessive about sometimes, whatever it is. So this is just a very, very fleeting little transit going on here over Pluto, but it will trigger Pluto deeper stuff, breakthrough, transition. And then we have the moon going over Pluto, and at the same time, of course, with Pluto and Uranus being so close together, both Pluto and Uranus are big game-changing energies. So between the 19th and 21st, also you will be feeling the influence of Uranus, which is an actually really favorable angle to your sun sign. So even more, this sort of breath of fresh air is likely to be coming in there. I would put my money on that one. And then the moon is going over Pluto, and the same thing, ditto, with the Uranian feeling coming in, and that will be causing a bit of, you might feel a bit ambushed, or you might feel as though you've got to be very quick on your feet, your mental feet. You know, you're quite a quick-witted person. In fact, I would say you're probably very quick-witted if you will allow yourself to just go bang, 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 bang like that. But your mental connections can happen really, really fast. So, but there's likely to be something which you've got to adjust to, and you've got to be flexible about, 22nd, 23rd, and then 24th to the 26th, that's when your ruling planet goes over Mercury, because Mercury is following on Venus. And so we have Venus going over Pluto first, and then that's followed by Mercury. Venus has gone ahead, and then the Sun will go over Pluto as well. But that's at the very, very, I mean, it's not even the last day of the month really, but you might just be getting a sniff of it at the last day of the month. It's more the first few days of January, but that's something else. That's something I will be covering later. So, and between the 24th and 26th, Mercury going over Pluto, so deeper thinking, insightful thinking, getting to the bottom of something being revealed, penetrating thinking, that might be coming towards you. It doesn't necessarily have to be going through you, you know, outwards. It might be coming at you as well. More radical thinking, more fundamental communications, you know, not spreading the small stuff, cutting out the fluff, cutting to the chase, getting right down to it. You can touch others during any time of this transit, and others can very much sway you as well, so vice versa. So if this is to do with your professional side and you happen to be in the arts, or you know, or maybe it's not professional, maybe it's to do with something, some relationship which is already, you know, very important to you, then you can, you know, at this time do the serenade and it's gonna work. Or rather, probably more likely, you know, you're going to be even more caught in that that dream, that romantic dream, which doesn't have to be a bad thing at all. And but overall, whenever Pluto is involved, there can be a bit of a power struggle, a bit of a sort of a settling in period, and there can be others that get the wrong end of the stick, and there can be misunderstandings. So you have to understand that this is the character, this is the flavor of that particular weather pattern coming in there, which, as I say, is what the whole lot is about a week. Now, where was I? So, yes, I went off on a tangent there. So Venus is coming into this area here. It's very favorable outside of that particular aspect. That transit is very favorable for material security, for emotional well-being from the 11th onwards, and you benefiting through the resources of another in some way. Whatever those resources are, and also maybe the commitment from another, the contract with another, the contribution from another, and the knowledge, or whatever it is. And this could also revolve around some kind of property as well. Then from the 17th, Mercury goes into that same area there, very revealing, you getting down to brass tacks to do with the financial things related to another. It might be an outside anonymous agency that you don't have anything to do with, but you've got to bring your mind to bear upon these things. There could be more paperwork involved there as well. This is the area of legacies and inheritances, so that may be ticking around on your mind as well. It's also the area to do with, you know, rebates, refunds and winnings of some kind or another, so it's that kind of thing can always come in there too. And overall, I would say with Venus and Mercury in there, followed by the Sun on the 22nd, that you're going to be feeling more passionately about something or someone, and more sensitive. So just trust your deeper instinct, and keep on the path that your instinct and your intuition is telling you, and you'll be fine. Uranus is coming towards your sun sign in a very good sort of a way anyway. So with this little connection to Uranus here, it won't be that as jerky or as rough a ride as potentially in a moment, you know, it might be. And it is in a moment, because it isn't a long-term aspect, this one. And then the Sun moves into this gear shifting area, into this area where you're going to move from one stretch of road to the next, and a transition will occur, but you might come up against something which really rattles your value structure for a while, your morals, you know, for a moment there again. But as I say, this is the area of breakthrough and transition, and if I didn't say it, I meant to. Until the 5th, Mars is also in that area, but Mars is in that area before anybody else arrives. So Mars has already legged it out of that area when the Sun and Venus and Mercury come into that area. And this is the area to do with inner change, and really maturing emotionally. And then Mars comes into a more outgoing, expansive area for the whole of the rest of the month. From the 5th, it's more up your street, really. And you feel as though you're getting the fuller picture now. You're being able to sort of get a map, compass reading. You can see the map, and the knowledge is beginning to sort of coagulate and making sense to you, and the ropes, you know, you're learning the ropes. You're learning the ropes. That's an interesting phrase. You're learning the ropes. It must be something to do with sailing, don't you think? Maybe it's cowboys and lassos. I don't know. I go for sailing, really. Now, so this will be a journey of discovery. I mean, literally, some of you could be journeying. Some of you could be on the move, because this is a very expansive area. It's to do with the distant horizons. And this is the time for you to be jumping into new things and not being fearful. So whether that's physically or mentally with your mind signing up for a course, just take yourself off into areas that you're not used to going to. I mean, you know, walk. If you go for a walk, just try walking the opposite way round if you can. Saturn is coming out of this very service-orientated area where it's been since October. Yes, October 2012. And she is has been in the stitch in time says 9 area, where you've had to deal with all sorts of naughty little details, maintenance, repairs, you know, bits of kit, feeling that your style is quite cramped at time, but being there for others, being of service. Maybe health matters have been strongly highlighted, your own or somebody else's. This has been going on for ages, and you Geminians born in the last 10 days or with 26 degrees, from 26 degrees onwards, rising, going to feel that energy the most this month. But then Saturn is changing on the 24th, and for 6 months will be in your opposite sign, challenging you to be more productive within close relationships, but through close relationships, struggling sometimes to meet their standards, aiming at improvement, finding that you got to compromise more, finding that you really got to sort of get your head around where they're coming from, but also looking up to somebody maybe and aspiring to their knowledge, their maturity, their know-how in somewhere or another. But it's true to say that some relationships will not survive this transit. It comes in for 6 months, it goes out for about 3 or 4 months, and then it comes in again for about 2 years, and that'll be in 2015. But some of you will definitely want to put an ongoing relationship on a more formal footing and sort of tie the knot, whether that's in business or a matter of the heart. And Jupiter is in a very good angle to your sun sign, the planet of expansion, all the way through to next August, and helping you to develop yourself through educational pursuits, speaking, writing, creative self-expression. You Geminians born early in the last 10 days or with 20 to 23 degrees rising are to feel the energy of this favorable energy, this positive energy the most. All mediums of expression are favored, and this will carve new territories, new knowledge into your mental landscapes right up your street, Gemini. And always be aware of Neptune, the long transit of Neptune through your career area and your general life direction. Remember to respect and honor your own goals in life. You've got to find out what they are first, so you've got to work harder at that maybe. And integrate the practice of higher service as often as you can, because that's what Neptune's all about. And that's it for December. If you know your rising sign or your moon sign, listen to those. May I wish you lots of fun and relaxation and warm, good times hanging out with the people, your favorite people, over the festive season. And there was a channeling I did, which is online, which you might want to sort of search around for. I think it's called Channeling from My Guides or something. Anyway, it's on the Diana Garland channel. And yes, and I'll see you the next time.